Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab with my teaching hat on. I'm in the book doing what I do for you. I got a nice little lesson. Break down a few things, so this should be fun. Let's go. I'm trying something different, give you information. I'm cherry picking, so it won't be a whole no fluff. I'm trying to give all good stuff, meat and potatoes, I call it. All right, let's go. Rightisms. 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get that together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I get through. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you, appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself, and always to Maya be true. Speaking of which, we're going from what I call the cosmic onomythograph to the psycho-spiritual journey. This is going to be a nice lesson. Hope you understand it. So we're going to start out with, that Set and Aset, brother and sister. They were also arch enemies, rivals. Why? Let's talk about that right quick. I'm going to get that out the way. I want to wrap up with the last lesson, but I didn't get to it. So I'm going to start off with that. Then we're going to move on to the spiritual cycle journey. But this was the part of the cosmic mythograph concept. But Set and Aset are rivals, aka enemies, as it were. Why? Through the term enemy is not appropriate, not really right, but from a higher perspective in the concept, they are opposites. Remember, all human beings who have not discovered what their higher true nature live their lives controlled by what? Their egos. Again, that's who you identify with, and it's fine, it's normal, it's natural. The thing is to rise up. That's the thing. No, ego is fine, but it should not be in control. When you're controlled by the ego to some degree, so that is what? Set. He is your ego, part of your personality. We give him character so you can know. And anything that's negative, bad, is Set. And you have to, take those things out of your character. That's the name of the game. And Aset being what? Wisdom, intuitive knowledge. She ain't for that nonsense. Okay, so they won't get along. That's like me in a room with somebody that we ain't gonna be in the same room long. No, we ain't vibing. That ain't gonna happen. Again, so in order to counter your egoism, what's this? And that's the first ring on the scale or the ladder going up to your self-knowledge is Set, your ego. That have to be what? Controlled. And which is where you are starting. That's the first level. We just getting started, okay? So from you, and you need to apply what? To conquer your ego, you need wisdom. That's one spot. There's a few ways, but the natural born enemy to ignorance is wisdom, knowledge. You don't know something, don't get crazy. No, get information, get knowledge. That's how you conquer the ego, the nonsense, okay? But you ought to be able to control your lower nature. All that comes from the ego, okay? All that's driven by the ego. I got a lesson for that covered up. So this is all character building for you. These are things that you need to understand how to do, all right? Now, what this means is that if you have more ego Set in your personality, braggadocious, egotistical, your egoism, your emotionality, your lust, your sexual desires, your selfish, all those are qualities that my man had. Every one of them qualities, I'm not saying, yep, 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 yep. That's what he exhibited. And he loved it. He had a problem with it. I had a problem with it. That's just, it didn't set well with me. So again, I did something against what I know. Unbeknownst to me at that time, again, I sold out. Why? I gave into that nonsense and I did all these things. Okay? Watch this. So it was easy for me to change. Watch. So now you are going to have what? Less asset, less wisdom, less Yoda. That means I told you the acronym, your own decision advisor. Aset is that decision advisor with wisdom and intuitive knowledge. You have things from her that you didn't have to read. She just brings it to you when you understand. That's the difference. And Set is ignorance. He don't know nothing except what he want, how he feel, and all that's all ego. Moving on. But that's your character. If that's you, that's who you are. And Aset is what? In your life, and from a broad perspective, Maya represents order, righteousness, morals, and ethics. I practice those qualities. That's the difference. Sorry. Is included here. Why? Since Maya is an aspect of Aset. They go together. So you are, again, this is character building. So now you also need to now adopt what? Ethical, conscious, and ethical behavior. Acquiring it don't mean jack. Practicing it means all the difference. That's why I live Maya, practice Maya. What? I mastered Maya, which is myself. That's the principle that I set myself by, standard I follow for myself. That's all. Moving on. And that's what they're telling you. But this means following, again, I should just read it. The precepts of Maya. You know how I feel about her. Okay. And if you have more egoism, I call it Duda. I got rid of all that nonsense. I shed all that. Everything I got from him, man, I put that stuff over there. Why? I'm no longer in the streets. I'm no longer playing that game. So I no longer use those things. That's why. They there. I ain't gonna pick them up. It's too much information. Stuff that you have, don't mean you got to use it. That's what I'm saying. It's better to have it and don't need it. Right now in my life, I don't need it. When I need it and don't have it. Back then, I needed it, so I had it. So it worked for me. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's all pure egoism. And you are going to have what? Less intellectual capacity. You're not able to think clear. You're not able to do the things you need to do for yourself while I was a follower. Okay? That's why. And to fully understand the teachings, because of your egoism, it does what? It clouds your intellect. It's a blocker. It's a problem. Metaphor, David and Goliath. Fear, false evidence appearing real. If you look at the size of it, that's fear. Why? Because that shouldn't bother you. See? When you focus, you do things you need to do. Don't care. I ain't scared of nothing. And what's this? Without intellectual development, now you will be even less able to what? Have your intuitional knowledge understood about yourself. You will be what? Lack of knowledge. You won't know who you are. You just believe you're somebody who, because your ego and some perception that somebody gave you, that's what you go by. Been there, done that. Fully understand that. So I like this lesson because I can prove this when I live this for myself. Again, another life lesson. Wisdom occurs in your personality when in a direct relationship proportionate to your presence of your ego. The less egoistic you are, the more better you're going to be as a person. The more egoistic you are, the less you're going to be as a person. That's a fact. Watch this. Close out this concept right here. And at the same, at the same thing applies to what? To Asar. Remember, Asar represents spirit. I gave you Asar and Neptat. Neptat is nature. Nature fell in love with the spirit. Okay, they get together. Offspring is your discernment. But these are all things that's going on inside of you. These things ain't going on outside you. Outside you, all these aspects of your character, personality. Understand that. And then you can put it in perspective. The more consciousness of Neptat, which is nature, Mother Nature, self-image as a what? I'm just a human being. I'm just a mortal. No, when I die, that's it. Okay, that's the ego. It don't know God. It don't know act like it don't know nothing. But what it wants and how it feels, that's the difference. And if it's in control, you got problems. And that you have what? In your own personality. The less wisdom you have, and the less soul awareness you have, and that is what? Awareness of your what? Your immortality. Intuitionally, you should know you can't die. Your spirit is immortal. That's what I says bring to your consciousness, your personality. I know that. Okay, my mother knows that. Well, she lived it. She practiced it. She know now from a different perspective, but she been doing it her whole life. Moving on, it can be practiced. Sometimes they do it without even knowing it. Why? Because it's just a way of life. It's just principles, ethics, morals. You live by them. You live in my eye. I wasn't even close to that chart. So moving on, that's the difference. But what would happen? You will now we will discuss more about this detail as we go through the book, like I say later on, briefly. But let that represent mortality. I said immortality. If you are more ignorant what I said, then you're gonna think you're human. So you fear what? Death. You think when death comes, you're gonna die. That's the egoism. That's the ignorance of what? Your higher self. And your idea of yourself is that what? As a mortal, a finite being. So when it's over, that's it. And the more of that you have in your understanding, is the less eternal and soul awareness you have. You don't know you. You don't know thyself. The less asar is the spirit that what? Can't die. Okay, it still lives on the afterlife. That's why. And you have in your personality, when you have knowledge of that, you will understand. And when you attain this wisdom, you can now overcome who? Egoism, and defeat mortality and move from aset to asar, which is immortality. And this is the end of that lesson. I want to just get that in. Now let's get over here to the good stuff. Where we at? Do want to see. Did that. Got that. Did that. This generation. Here we go. This was called the movement of dissolution. The spiritual journey to enlightenment is based on what we call the parute, the God and goddess concept. Now, normally, when you do this, you see the arrows are pointing up. So that means they're telling you, you want to end up here. You don't start here. You don't start at 10. You start here, okay? And that's where we're going to go. I'm going to walk you through this phase from 1 to 10. This should be fun, all right? Hope you understand it. I'm going to try to break it down as we go the best I can. The whole idea is to get you to understand the concept, not to just throw it out there and say, well, you figured it out. No, I want you to be able to understand it, so I'll try to break it down as we go. So let's start with the movement of dissolution, the spiritual journey to enlightenment. And it's based on what? The parute, the God and goddess concept that relies on us. The journey of spiritual enlightenment may be seen as a reverse. Usually you come down, but of creation, the creation process, which is the subtlest to the dense. We're going to start now from the dense and work our way up to the subtlest. That's climbing the ladder of the tree of life, okay, spiritually. Let's go. So the process. In the creation, everything emanates from the noon, or the primordial ocean, and expresses in the form of first elements and succeeding levels of denseness. Like I say, subtler, you get subtler, you get subtler. And these elements are all manifest in the forms of what? Opposite pairs, remember that? Started with Maya. And it goes on, the form of elements succeed the opposite, which appear to most people to be exclusive and separate from each other. Left can't be left without right. Up can't be up without down. Yin can't be yin without yang. See the concept? Dark, light, up, down. So that's the concept of duality. But that don't mean it's a bad thing. They're just opposite. You need two things to make it happen. The third part is what makes it all work. But which are in reality what? Complements to each other. Males complement females. To counteract what? The movement towards what? Ignorance and illusion. Whoa, I missed that. Wait a minute. To counteract what? Towards ignorance and an illusionary deviance. The spiritual journey is based on first the subletting Sublimating your ego, controlling your lower nature, I call it. See, they put it in words. I'm gonna make sure, young men, women, control between your legs. How about that? God dang it. But it's all about that ego, because that's where the ego dwells, okay? Ego love pleasure. It don't care male or female, okay? Got a story about how he don't care. He can put it in something. Moving on, okay? But the ego and its desires, that's all it does. It desire. It will never be satisfied. It will crave all the time, every time, no matter what. Understand that concept. That's the ego. That's the devil, whatever you want to call it. But that's the part that in you that you got to conquer first to get this party started, all right? Understand that. In which caused a person to what? To become entrenched, as it were, in what? In this physical world, this physical realm of existence, and to be oblivious to what is higher planes, higher self. Again, the ego don't care about God. God is higher. The ego don't care about higher. It edged God out for its own selfish gains. And if you let that run you, that's what kind of person you will be. Moving on. And your spiritual practice consists in developing your personal intellectual capacity. How? By you being able to understand the illusionariness of the opposites of creation. Realizing this is a mirror as above, so below. But above is real. This is illusionary. This is what physical life was born. Everything in nature, born would die. Physical body died because the spirit was never born. It exists. It can't die. It just transformed from the physical body back to its become. Tired of having that argument, but that's the concept, and everybody should be aware of that one. But this leads what? A spiritual aspirant, you right thinkers, when you practice the spiritual philosophy, and it leads you to develop now what they call mystic aspirations and qualities. There you go, qualities, principles that you can follow to go what? Beyond the appearance of nature, and to discover what? The absolute existence, which is the real basis for all that exists. Human beings, our job is to know ourselves so the spirit can go back to the maker. Moving on, I ain't got time to have a whole bunch of group out this, that, and the third. All right, now let's start. At the top, you see here is 10, okay? It's 10 things and qualities that you're going to go through that is your character building. If you work these things in, you'll be a better person. And the best part about that is you and God will know it. And anybody else really don't matter, but they will too. How about that? God make you shine. That light, He'll shine and let it shine. Moving on, that's the concept. All right, now let's start at the bottom. Sublimation, meaning gaining control, having control of what? Your ego. Dun, 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 dun. That's where it starts. And that's your lower self, below the waist. Okay? Control over your sexual drives, your negative qualities such as what? Anger, hatred, greed, covetousness, jealousy, selfishness, and I can go on, but those are all negative qualities. Again, we know that. Set is that. We keep calling the devil. I don't subscribe to that. Why? We didn't have the devil concept back then. That's why. So it don't work in my philosophy. That's all. Understanding that's a biblical thing, a religion thing, don't care. But again, the ego, that's in you. I don't know where y'all put the devil, but the ego is you. You identify. Carl Jung said the best, the id. I ain't got a problem with that. He modernized the concept that we had in ancient times. So, and he on point with it, so I'm good with that. And my man, Chia, my man, Shopper, he breaks the brain down real well. And guess what? He brings it right back to here. Watch this. That's the first level. Moving up. How you move up? You get Asar, spirit, and that's that. Nature. Remember? They fall in love, they get together. But with that, you have intellect. You have understand. Oh, no, excuse me. Whoa. Number 2, excuse me. Devotion from nature to the divine. Asar. That fell in love. So they had to get together. That's faith in the existence of what? The divine. We got what they call the worship gene. We feel desire to worship. I worship my dad until I got understanding better knowledge of what I'm doing. So to me, he was God. He was all, yeah. I made in my mind, symbolically put it in, justified it. Again, we all do that until you what? Learn to control what you think and how you think and why you think. That's my whole point. And they was versed with this. They controlling this thing right here. They knew that. Moving on. But devotion to the divine, faith in the existence of the divine, right there. How could you not? But moving on. But also have faith in the existence of what? The divine self. Hence, thy. God is thy. And in the idea, again, the mind, that enlightenment is a real possibility. Feet don't fail me now. Yeah, I get the rhythm. The motor not running now. When I get to teaching, the motor start running. So I'm getting excited. You get the concept? And when you do that, those two things come together: nature and devotion. You know what brings on that? Anubis, Anpu. That means discernment in your character. That's the best part about you. And it's down here at the level 3. When you pass this level, now you going into higher ground. What is this? Third, Anpu. That means intellect, understanding that what? This world is perishable. I ain't caught up in the material stuff. This material world is hell. I don't want this. Moving on. And that's your mindset of Anubis, your discernment. And that there is something else that worship gene, which is abiding and also understanding the real meaning of life and the real goals of life. You ready? Is to attain enlightenment, to know thyself, and understanding what is real. That's your discernment between what is unreal, truth from untruth. I'm a truth teller. Why? I'm also a truth police. I know the truth from a lie. Lie to me, I'll let you know you're lying. Moving on to your face. I don't care. Moving on. Number 4, going up. And at that third level, you should be able to make your Yoda kicks in what? That's your own decision advisor. Your discernment is your decision maker. That's Anubis. You should know right from wrong, good from bad. That's his job. And that's in part of your personality. I knew on that cornerback, I'm Diddy bopping. I can tell by the way you talk, look, and put up on me if you was friend or foe, cop or customer. Moving on. And 100%, just like Neef, I let it go every time I hit my mark. I didn't sell to the wrong person. And moving on. I taught my crew the same ability, and none of them did either because nobody got caught. Moving on. Just a fact of life. I taught something that we use, again, to survive and do what we're doing. Moving on. But this is the thing that you got to do for yourself now. I'm building myself, and this is the way I did it. And number 4, when you got Asar, that's our father, spirit, in the physical form. That's Asar is spirit made matter, okay? His sister and wife, Aset, she represents wisdom, intuitive knowledge, and immortality. Together, they offspring is us, Haru. But them two together is glimpses of the transcendental divine glory and the initiation into the teachings of what we call mystic wisdom. It was a secret to what outsiders. Why? You got to come in to be part of Masons. Everybody know what we do. They don't know a damn thing. Why? If they ain't come in, they don't know nothing. They hear a bunch of hearsay, gossip. Yeah, we do that all the time. But if I tell you what I do, I got to kill you. Oh, I want to hear. Okay. But they don't know it's symbolical. Again, mind games. Playing games with people who don't know. The worst thing in the world, oh man, I was smarter than the average bear. So I think I'm smarter than the average bear. But that don't give you the right to take care of the people, take advantage of the people that you're smarter than. That's all I'm saying. I try to educate the people I'm smarter than. Make them smart like me. Well, if I'm going to be around you, I want you to be smart too. If I was doing what I was doing, everybody was doing the same thing, I told them to do that. All right, number 5, that's us right here. Haru, the offspring of intuitive wisdom and spirit is us, aspirants. We call Haru. That's the spirit that's in me and you. This is advanced spiritual knowledge. When you become Haru, you above the nonsense, okay? You and Set fight like tooth and nail. Why? You ain't with that nonsense. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Anubis, Anpu, he had beat his crap out of Set, okay? Everybody scared of Set. Anpu ain't for that nonsense, okay? I forgot to get that one there. All right, but moving on to Haru. Now, him and Haru fought tooth and nail. He looked at Anubis and said, I don't think so, okay? That's the difference, okay? And Anpu is Haru's big brother. That's somebody messing with my little brother. No, I ain't gonna deal with it. I gotta deal with his brother. There you go. When I was coming up, That was my uncle. Okay, he had my back. Moving on. Again, somebody that don't want to deal with, that's who Anubis is. Okay, that's your discernment. Don't play the, I ain't with the game. I ain't with that. Simple as that. You know them guys, you know. When I'm in the car, I'm in the hood, I'll pull up, people look at my car, give them their face. That's yeah, I ain't the one. I'll let you know, especially on my face, okay? We call it the gas face. We call it prison, right in the jump. That's what you walk around with. Everybody's mad. All right, stop. All right, but again, at this level, the fifth level, Haru, that means you have advanced, developed spiritual qualities, meaning you start doing the right thing, and now you're showing purity, trustfulness, honesty, etc. You're doing the right thing. And now to what? Pursue your spiritual, disciplined lifestyle, which now will lead you to what? Success in life. God damn it. I told you that in my last lesson. Nobody liked it. Determination and self-discipline will get you success every time. Those two things is what makes you successful. They just told you that right there. Moving on. Again, success in life as well as your spiritual enlightenment. You're going to learn and you have what? Self-discovery. Y'all call it self-discovery. Okay, I got a problem. It's the same thing. Again, what you call it, but the work you got to do to reach it is the same. I keep telling you that too. Just give you another lesson about that. Now, number 6, my favorite number. Number 6 incorporates 3 different mindsets. The first one, Het Haru, which is the female part of Haru. You got to have a mate. And that's his mate, Het Haru, the house of Haru, the house of the spirit. That's us in physical form, but the female aspect, okay? She represents spiritual strength. That's Het Haru. Haru represents male aspect of spiritual strength, hence her female, okay? And you got my favorite, Tahuti. Tahuti is right thinking, right reasoning. That's the mind of God. Your mind, excuse me. And Maya, you know how I feel about her. She represents righteous action. She ain't about talking about it. She about being about it. She rules in order. She keeps everything where it's supposed to be. Okay? Her and my girl Neef. Just did a lesson about that. All right. But again, number 7. No man's number. Number 7 is Geb and Newt. That's the physical, the gross aspect of nature. That's the last line before us. Why? Because you got the earth and you got heaven. That's the physical part. That's when nature kicks in. You see it now. That's gross. Number 8 is Shu and Tufnut. They represent the more subtler aspects of nature. Air and rainfall, water. Okay? We're getting there. We at number 9. 9 is Ra, 10. That's discovering what we call the single essence which underlies the multiplicity of nature and what we call the cosmic consciousness. He's spirit and consciousness. And he had to make himself visible. Son. The Son is the Son of God, not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N of God. Who what? Put it there. Who? I'm on 10. Okay? The hidden essence. There you go. He made that visible. And number 10, why is this? Oh, excuse me, number 9, that's discovering single essence, the underlying multiplicity. Okay, number 10, that's where everything begins. What? In the noon. Remember the primordial ocean, the conception, y'all call it the watery abyss. Same thing, the void, whatever you want to call it. We call it, again, we didn't have a name for it. We had total understanding of what it was. Okay, the noon, number 10, discovering the absolute transcendental essence which is beyond even the singularity of consciousness, which Ra, beyond time and space, and the opposites of creation, which was represented by Shu, Tufnut, Geb, and Nut before them, as well as the concept of existence and even what? Non-existent. He was before there was. That's what I tell you. I was the beginning and I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I am all. How about that? They call him the absolute. We call it the virtue, the all-encompassing, whatever you want to call it. But the circle represents everything in it is of him. The days of the year, I'm about to get the next lesson coming up. The numbers, 360. 360 what? Degrees of a circle. That means you don't know where it started, where it ended. We put the 5 on it, but to represent the birthday of the gods that Newt gave birth to, which is Asar, Aset, Netet, Set, and Haru, little tidbit there. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll be back with some more. You know how we do. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, in closing, right thinkers, me, y'all, it'll be 100. Me, 100 minus that day. So I've never let my right thinker passed away. I'll be right back. I got some more lessons for you.